Mexico City. 50 years ago it hosted the Olympic Games, and now in 2018 it welcomes the premier event of the sport, which truly encapsulates the traditional Olympic ethos. Welcome to the UIPM 2018 Pentathlon World Championships. The sport's finest elite athletes from almost 40 countries competing over the next 7 days at this unique venue. The first ever all-in-one pentathlon arena. All the sports here in the one venue, improving the spectacle for spectators and television viewers alike. Pentathlon, a multi-skilled challenge with athletes put to the test over 5 disciplines in one day. A 200-metre swim, the round-robin épée fencing with extra points available from the bonus round. The riding, where each competitor faces the challenge of an unfamiliar horse. And finally, the combined event, and the one which so often provides the down-to-the-wire thrill of the finish, the laser run, a unique, exciting and tough test of all-round Olympic ability. The week's action at the brand new all-in-one pentathlon stadium proceeded, of course, with some local colour and a welcome to Mexico for competitors and teams from every corner of the planet. The World Championships never more important for athletes here at the halfway point of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic cycle. Standing out among the women, of course, the 2017 individual champion Gonaz Gubadalina of Russia, hoping to improve on her form from this year. Just one World Cup win early in the season. Never wise to write the Russian off, though. Heading the charge for Hungary, 2016 world champion Sarolta Kovacs. 4 times we've seen her on the podium this year, and she took the win at her home event in Cascamat. Currently ranked 3rd in the world, she's definitely one to watch and very much on form. Elodie Clouvel is heading up an improving French team, and despite some early promise, including a win in Egypt, it hasn't been her best year to date. She's delivered the big surprises in the past, though, so keep an eye on the 2016 Olympic silver medalist. Anastasia Prokopenko of Belarus won last year's Senior European Championships on home turf. She's had a couple of decent World Cup results, notably second in Hungary, so if she can adapt to the conditions here in Mexico, then big things could follow. Kate French of Great Britain took a win in Bulgaria this year, and she was second at the European Senior Championships in Hungary, so the Brit could provide an upset. The speculation ends here, though, as we now move on to the pool for the start of the women's individual finals coverage with our commentator James Zanadakis.
Welcome to this purpose-built 25-metre pool where the athletes have to complete 8 laps in the fastest possible time. The quicker the time, well, the better the score. And we join the action towards the end of Heat 5. And there you can see in lane 3, leading the way at the moment is Yifei Bian of China, just approaching then the final turn. There it comes then, neck and neck with Civ Brazil from Ireland alongside her in lane 2. She's wearing the pink swimming hat and seems to have edged into the lead, although with this angle you can see it is very close indeed. Approaching the final few metres of the race, who is going to win? So close between those two in lanes 2 and 3. It is Bian who wins, Brazil in second, with Orteza in third. Well, this then is Sofia Foldazzi making her way out for the 6th and fastest of the swimming heats. This is really a who's who of women's swimming. That's Sarolta Kovacs and Gubadalina in your shot there. Here we go then. The athletes are ready. The crowd is ready. And Heat 6 is underway. So silverware across the pool then in this final heat. Elodie Clouvel in lane 1. She won gold in Cairo in the World Cup earlier on this year. She also won silver at the Rio 2016 Olympics. Not off to the best of starts. Gonaz Gubadalina in lane 3. The Russian was a gold medalist in Los Angeles in the World Cup, and she at the moment is pretty much neck and neck with Sarolta Kovac in lane 2. She won silver in the World Cup final in Kazakhstan not so long ago, but it's very close in this opening stages of Heat 6, as you would expect. Real fast swimmers, looking at times around 2 minutes 10 for this 6th and fastest heat. Right at the turn, it looks like Golnaz Gubadlina in the purple swimsuit is just ahead at the moment, nearly a minute into the race, so approaching the halfway point. This turn here should indicate around halfway through the race, and you can see Gubadlina still out in front at the moment. Misaki Ushida from Japan in lane 4 is really holding her own though and keeping up with Gubadlina. It could be close between these two. So well into the second half of this race then. Golnaz Gubadlina in lane 4 leading the way, ahead then of Misaki Ushida from Japan just next to her in lane 4. Sarolta Kovac though in touching distance, she's in lane 2. This is really starting to heat up. Another turn underway, still Gubadlina setting the pace. A second ahead now of Kovac, who's moved up into second position. Uchida in third. We are certainly getting there, aren't we? 1 minute 45 on the clock. This will be the final turn. It certainly looks like Gubadlina has this in the bag, in the purple there in lane 4. But the battle between Kovac and Ushida in lane 2 and lane 4, that is going to be interesting. Absolutely neck and neck, those two, for second and third. Gubadlina is going to bring it home from Russia. She comes home in first place. In second place it is Sarolta Kovac, and in third place it is Misaki Ushida of Japan. She was keeping pace with Gubadlina throughout the opening stages of the race, but Gubadlina out in front, over a second ahead. An impressive victory from the Russian.
The race was not easy because of the altitude here in the mountains. To prepare for this event was hard, and all the disciplines will be tough and need patience. But we are all in the same boat. We all have to deal with the same conditions and work with what we have.
Все мы в равных условиях, поэтому приходится работать на том, что есть.
So this then the results of the women's swimming. You can see Golnaz Gubadlina very much ahead of the pack. Sarolta Kovac in second. A bit further down the lane there's Marie Orteza from France. Expect her to come back into things a little bit later in the competition. Next up though, it is the fencing round, where the athletes compete in a round-robin ranking round. 35 one-strike bouts in quick succession. Each touch of the sword is worth 7 points. Plenty of victories and few defeats is the key to success in this discipline. Time for calm nerves and quick reactions. Over then to the bonus fencing round. Each bout worth a single point. It is Janine Coleman of Germany against Anastasia Prokopenko. Coleman on a good run at the moment. 5 victories consecutively, meaning she picks up an extra 5 points. But there comes Prokopenko with a touch to end that run by Coleman and pick up an extra point herself. So continuing now the fencing bonus round. Each bout, of course, worth an extra point. Anastasia Prokopenko with 1 point to her name at the moment. Annika Sloy of Germany will look to end that mini run that started. Annika Sloy then on the right-hand side of your screen. And you can see her red trainers darting backwards and forwards, trying to encourage her opponent to make an attack and perhaps defend. But it is indeed Prokopenko who gets that touch to extend her run now to 2 extra points. Good stuff that there from the Belarusian, starting to put together a nice little run. Well, up next then it is Uliana Batashova of Russia. And she comes up onto the stage. Prokopenko has put together a little run though, so Batashova will have to try and halt this progress. Off she goes then, and you can see it is a run of 3 victories for Prokopenko. Gets the job done very quickly. Batashova is off the stage as quickly as she came on it. So Batashova's time comes to a pretty abrupt end. You can see this movement from Prokopenko as she attacks in 2 phases. There is the touch, and that means she progresses now to a penultimate round against Sarolta Kovac. Sarolta Kovac finishing second overall in the ranking round, meaning she is the second from last fencer to take place on the bonus fencing round. You can see Prokopenko with a run of 4 victories now, but Srota Kovac is a very good fencer and defensively just trying to force her opponent into a mistake, in which she does and ends the run of Prokopenko. She will pick up the extra point, a big smile on her face, knowing that she goes into the final round against Marie Orteza, who placed highest of all. So Srota Kovac versus Marie Orteza. This will determine who is the victor of the fencing bonus round. Just touching swords to confirm the bout is underway. Off we go then, the final fencing bonus round. Srota Kovac quite defensive here, and that's a double touch, so that means they will reset with 15 seconds left on the clock. And there you can see, very close between these two. And Kovac leaps forwards, trying to get to the legs, but it is Orteza on the defence who gets the touch, and she picks up that extra point. It's actually worth 2 points in the final round as well, so 2 extra points for Marie Orteza. And you can see here the replay, and Kovac just let herself a little bit exposed, and Orteza getting the touch on the right-hand shoulder of the Hungarian. This then the standings after the first 2 rounds. Srota Kovac leading the way with 536 points, just 2 points ahead of Marie Orteza in second place. Batashova of Russia in third. There's Golnaz Gubadlina, who was the fastest swimmer, and Kate French of Great Britain in 12th place.
Welcome back to our coverage of the UIPM 2018 Pentathlon World Championships. Amazing facilities for the event, Mexico laying on the sport's first ever all-in-one venue. But challenging conditions for many of the athletes, with both the high altitude and temperatures unfamiliar to many.
So we return now to the women's individual event, and time for the riding. A big challenge, as riders have only a limited time to bond with the local horses. Just 20 minutes with the specific horse they have drawn after the fencing. While Kate French from Great Britain continued her good event, a score of 300, perfect score then, as she set the boundary high heading into the latter parts of the competition. Anastasia Prokopenko managed a score of 286, a couple of fences knocked over for her. Well, next up it was the Russian Golnaz Gubadlina, a less than convincing round here, knocking over a few fences and actually having a fall at some point during the course as well. That's proving very costly, a score of 236. Well, Sofia Foldhazi from Hungary was the next rider to take to the course, the 29th rider of this discipline, and a pretty good run by all accounts. A couple of obstacles collided over the course to give her a score of 286. Up next, it's Francesca Tonghetti of Italy in fine form, and you can see rider and horse as one. Only the second perfect score so far, putting her well in contention heading into the laser run. Time then for the German Annika Schloy to take to the course and complete her ride. The objective of riding is, of course, to maintain that score of 300. Each obstacle knocked over is 7 points off your score, plus a point taken off for every second over the predetermined time limit. A score though of 293 for Annika Schloy, very respectable. And riders often say a score of 290 and above is what they're aiming for, but Elodie Clouvel of France struggling a little bit here. A score of 279 after a few obstacles collided with. You can see the course is getting a bit more tricky for the riders to manage their way around. Up next then it is Uliana Batashova of Russia, who currently is in third place in the overall standings. But again, just a few obstacles and time penalties collected along the way, meaning a score of 285, perhaps making things a bit more difficult for her heading into the laser run. The penultimate of the riders then is Marie Orteza, position second overall, heading towards the laser run, and what a fantastic ride she put together. When the pressure was truly on, she delivered a perfect score of 300, putting the pressure on Srota Kovac. So Strelca Kovac needed a perfect run to maintain that first position, and she started off very well indeed, managing to avoid collecting too many obstacles along the way, coming unstuck towards the end of her run though, just collecting one obstacle over the course of her run, meaning she went into the laser run with a score of 293 from the riding, but still hot on the heels of Marie Orteza. So Marie Orteza just sneaking ahead of Strelca Kovac. She starts 5 seconds ahead of the Hungarian, with the Russian Uliana Batashova just a little bit further behind them, starting in 3rd position. Elodie Kluvel, the Olympic silver medalist, is starting in 10th place. Anastasia Prokopenko, she's a quick runner. Keep an eye on her. Alice Otero starting in 17th. So after a long day here in Mexico City, it all comes down to this, the combined laser run. Kate French from Great Britain just warming up and going through the motions, a lot going through these athletes' heads as they prepare themselves for this combined discipline, the 3,200 metre run and the laser shoot. Each lap they have to complete a circuit of the course and of course a laser shoot. Plenty of opportunity for people to move up and down the field. The distance between 1st and 3rd is 30 seconds at the moment, but don't let that put you off too much. Quick runners really can make their way through the field in this, one of the trickiest of the disciplines available in modern pentathlon. So there then confirmation that Marie Orteza starting in 1st position, Strelca Kovac in 2nd with Batashova a little bit further back. Elodie Kluvel, Anna Matz and Anastasia Prokopenko will be within a shout if they can put together a good shoot and indeed keep the pressure on the runners at the tops. A few high fives just knocking around, and there you can see the conditions. 24 degrees, it's quite a mild afternoon in Mexico City. A few nerves perhaps building on the start line, but off we go. Marie Orteza getting things underway in this, the women's individual laser run, the final event of the day. And you can see Strelca Kovac just coming behind Marie Orteza at the moment. She will look to put a bit of early pressure on in the opening stages of this race. Who will keep their cool and get away first? Marie Orteza with a decent shoot this. She looks like she may be able to get away ahead of Kovac, and off she goes. 10 seconds then is the time, and 10 seconds is matched by Kovac as well. So a real battle starting to get underway between those two as the rest of our starters make their way to the shooting range, who will keep the pressure on these front two. So Marie Orteza of France just controlling the pace at the moment, but you can see there Strelca Kovac is keeping within eye shot. There's a few people building up behind now as well. You can see there is Annika Sloy at the front of your screen. Kate French of Great Britain just a bit further back as we approach the 2nd lap now. And there you can see this is the battle for 3rd position. That is Uliana Batashova. She's currently being hunted down by quite a few different athletes, mainly Annika Sloy of Germany. But this is the battle for 1st place. Marie Orteza of France still out in front at the moment. There is Strelca Kovac, who is really closing in on her opponents. So this, the 2nd shooting, the 2nd lap, neck and neck, just a couple of seconds separating them two of these athletes now. It was a 5-second gap. What will it be at the end of the 2nd shoot? Focus on the face of both athletes. They get away at exactly the same time. It is neck and neck after the 2nd shoot, and indeed heading towards the halfway point of this women's individual final. Annika Sloy appears to have got away in 3rd position, and there's a big group of athletes. Any one of those could put pressure on the final medal positions. This is the battle for 1st and 2nd. You can see Annika Sloy is absolutely making up ground. Could she challenge these two for gold and silver? They seemed to be in a battle of their own, but that's not the case in the latter stages of this second lap, and a huge group of runners making their way up through the pile there. And that's Anastasia Prokopenko. Well, she started all the way in 12th place, and she's starting to make her way through the field nicely, neck and neck with Orteza and Sarolta Kovac. Annika Sloy coming up behind those two as well as we approach the third laser shoot. Right, now this is where things start to get interesting. The third laser shoot. Who is going to keep their cool on this third lap? Orteza seems to look focused. Kovac missing a few, and this could be the chance where Orteza consolidates first position. She's away. Kovac was just 3 shots so far, and Sloy putting pressure on Kovac for second place. Kovac eventually getting away with Sloy in third place, but there you can see Maria Orteza with a bit of daylight out in first position. Prokopenko is putting pressure on that lead group as well. She started over a minute behind Marie Orteza. What a fantastic race she's having. You can see Kate French as well as Elodie Cluvel, the Olympic silver medalist, at the shooting range as well, looking to make up a few positions. Annika Sloy of Germany, though, is starting to challenge for the lead, and I think she's about to overtake Orteza. Yes, she does. Annika Sloy starting in 6th place, 42 seconds behind Orteza. She now leads the race. What a phenomenal story this would turn out to be. So Annika Sloy is out in front, but look at this. Anastasia Prokopenko has got past Orteza and Kovac and is now up to second position. Surely she can't challenge for the lead, can she? Annika Sloy at the moment then out in front. Anastasia Prokopenko is making up ground by the second. What is going on here? What a phenomenal women's individual final. The women starting in 6th and 12th are now battling for gold. Prokopenko is off to a good start in the shooting range. Annika Sloy is faltering, and Prokopenko gets away. Unbelievable. She started in 12th. She now leads on the final lap. Has she peaked too soon? Annika Sloy will see what she can do about that. Eventually getting away, although taking 25 seconds in the shooting range. Anastasia Prokopenko is leading the race. This, though, is the battle for bronze between Marie Orteza and Sarolta Kovac. Orteza starting this race 5 seconds ahead of Kovac, and looking down the field, various battles going on. You can see Elodie Cluvel perhaps becoming a victim of the high altitude here in Mexico City, but one person that certainly isn't becoming a victim of the high altitude is Anastasia Prokopenko, and look at that lead that she has over Annika Sloy. Prokopenko approaching the final stages of this race, out in front. She's made up over a minute and she leads by a huge distance. This is one of the stories of the season. Anastasia Prokopenko of Belarus wins gold in the Women World Championships individual event. What a moment for her. You can see how much that means to her. Annika Sloy coming home in second, with Marie Orteza, who started in first, managing to hold off in third position. What a moment for the Belarusian. Marie Orteza looks absolutely exhausted. She had a battle pretty much from the outset. But what a victory for this woman, the world champion Anastasia Prokopenko.
It's good job, because in my heart I believe it. Before my start number I don't believe it. And it's fantastic my shooting. It's fantastic my running, because I'm very fast running, and I believe it. I believe it. It's life. Very good.
And you can see just how much that means to Anastasia Prokopenko. Gold for her. Annika Sloy with silver. Marie Orteza, she was in with a real fight at the end, but managing to come home in third position. Some big names finishing between 11th and 20th position. In 30th place was Golnaz Gubidlina, the reigning champion from last year.
Time now for a quick summary of the mixed relay, the event in which a male and female athlete team up under their country's flag to combine their complementary skills. James Zanadakis takes up the story.
So the action once again starting in the purpose-built 25-metre swimming pool. 3 heats made up of 16 teams from around the world. The women getting us underway with France setting the early pace in the third and fastest heat, when the men tagged in for the final sting of the race, and it was France setting the fastest time, with Russia coming home in second place. Over then to the fencing hall for the ranking round. Germany leading the way with an impressive 25 victories and just 5 defeats. High fives all round. Outside, it was of course the bonus round, and Germany versus Hungary in the final bonus round tie. Germany coming out victorious, taking 2 vital extra points heading into the riding. On then to the riding, and of course the big challenge here is that riders only have a limited time to bond with the local horses in the event's build-up. 2 perfect scores from the Czech Republic and Mexico, and a near perfect score from Germany. Just a final obstacle hit as they head into the Laseron with a 31-second head start over Hungary. So Germany getting things underway with a very big lead, and a lead that in all honesty was never really threatened. Germany consistent with their running and shooting from the offset. Rebecca Langer getting the German team off to a solid start. Hungary were also in a race of their own, starting with a 35-second head start over the pursuing group. The battle for third was an interesting one. Kazakhstan starting in third place, but in the end losing out to France, who themselves put pressure on Kazakhstan throughout the course of the race. Here you can see then some of those battles going on at the shooting range. A deserved gold medal for the Germans, Fabian Liebig bringing it home, with Hungary taking the silver and France fighting off that tough competition to take home bronze. So Potapenko and Ilyashenko just missing out on a bronze medal. Czech Republic coming home in 5th position, Guatemala down in 11th, United States in 14th.
Welcome back to our coverage of the UIPM 2018 Pentathlon World Championships here in Mexico City, where the very best athletes in the sport are enjoying the first ever all-in-one venue. 5 disciplines all within the same arena. A standard the sport is striving to make the norm for world-class events in the build-up to Tokyo 2020. Better for spectators, better all-round for athletes. The single most important event of the year, Mexico City offering up its own particular challenges in the form of scorching temperatures and high altitude. What's a challenge that Jung Jinghua of Korea is fully aware of? He's the reigning champion and will be firmly focused on retaining the title. Best result leading that amazing Korean 1-2 across the line in Kazakhstan to win the last World Cup of the season. Valentin Prat of France may not have figured that highly in this year's World Cup, but he should never be underestimated. Best result of the year, a win in both the individual and relay at the European Championships. Ilya Plaskov of Belarus, always the joker, but his rivals might not be so amused. Third at last year's World Championships and a regular on the World Cup podium, his form continues to improve. Ben Stemeter of Hungary, another possible contender. He's only had 1 podium as an individual when he was second in LA, but a mixed relay win in Hungary hinted at more to come. And of course, Patrick Dog of Germany. So much potential, but so little to show for it in terms of big results. His time will come for sure, but Mexico may be the stage on which he makes his big statement. The finals underway. We move now to the pool with our commentator, James Zanadakis.
So for one final time today, we come back outside for the swim in this purpose-built, fantastic 25-metre pool. We join the action in the men's individual final in the final turn of heat number 4, and you can see in lane 5 a battle going on between the Frenchman Valentin Prat and the Mexican Alvaro Sandoval. It's going to be close between these two, and Prat gets in ahead of the Mexican by 0.02 of a second. Wow, wasn't that close? Jan Kuff coming home in 3rd place. And you can see here just how close that finish was between the Frenchman and the Mexican. Over now then to Heat 6. This is the fastest of the men's swimmers. James Cook and Mars Pillage exchanging smiles, both Brits Getting ready then for this men's final, the fastest of the swimming heats. Miles Pillage and James Cook, both very quick swimmers, and Miles Pillage with an absolute beast of a start. Look how far ahead he is already a couple of lengths ahead of James Cook and Amro El Ghaziri from the United States of America as we reach the first turn. It is all Miles Pillage at the moment, but James Cook is a very, very quick swimmer. He was actually a swimmer before he got involved with modern pentathlon. He is, though, in third, well, just into second position ahead of Al Ghaziri of the United States of America. Miles Pillage still out in front after that fantastic start. He is a very, very quick swimmer as well. Expect times around to maybe sub 2 minutes as we approach the halfway stage of this men's Heat 6 individual final. Looks like James Cook might have edged ahead of Miles Pillage. In fact, I think James Cook is about a hand length ahead. Let's see at the turn who is in the lead. It is indeed James Cook, 0.3 of a second ahead of Miles Pillage. But these two are absolutely going at it. Look at them in the middle of the shot. Very little between the two Brits swimming towards each other. They're so close. In comes the turn, and it is still absolutely neck and neck. In third position, it is Amro El Ghaziri. Joseph Chung of Great Britain as well is making a good show of himself in lane 5. And Charles Fernandez in lane 6, also involved in this final. Zhang Junghua, the gold medalist of the World Cup final in Kazakhstan, he's out in lane 1. Will be one to watch, I'm sure, throughout the course of the day. But this is the battle we are keeping our eye on at the moment. Miles Pillage in the white hat, James Cook in the red. Absolutely neck and neck as we head into this final time. Wow, these are going to be quick times, sub 2 minutes. It is Miles Pillage seemingly just ahead on the right hand side. It's going to be close between these two, and it is Miles Pillage who wins, 0.3 of a second ahead of James Cook. Al Ghaziri a little bit further back. What an exciting end to the heat that was.
Yeah, really happy. It was a lot faster than the semi-final, which is good for me because it wasn't going easy in the semi, but just got the skills right on that one, so you save a lot of time.
So what an exciting end to the swimming we had there. Miles Pillage ahead of James Cook, who himself is ahead of Amro El Ghaziri. Joseph Chung from Great Britain completing the top 4. Ilya Palashkov, well, he's in 10th position. Jan Kuf from the Czech Republic, who's a great fencer, is in 17th. And talking about the fencing, it is now time to head into the fencing hall for the ranking round. The athletes once again completing 35 bouts against one another, 20 victories and above. Usually a pretty good gauge of how well an athlete has done. Limbing Zhang, Jan Kuf and Alexandra Nubis setting the scores to beat in the ranking round. So outside then for the fencing bonus round, 1 point picked up for each individual victory. The crowd in fine voice. And there is Pavlo Timochenko, the Olympic silver medalist, taking on local favourite Alvaro Sandoval of Mexico. And you can see Timochenko just advancing on Sandoval. He's got such a long reach, Timochenko, already with 1 victory to his name, and as straightforward as you like, gets his second. So bonus fencing round worth just 1 point, but if you put together a little run like Timochenko is doing here, then it can soon mount up. 2 points in the bag already. Al Ghaziri next up on the stage, defending well, but Timochenko using that long reach and getting another touch under his belt. That is now 3 points going the way of the Ukrainian. Well, who can stop Timochenko? Up next, it is Jan Kuf to have a go. A double touch coming in here, which means they're going to reset, and Kuf will get another chance to end this run of 4 straight victories from Timochenko. 12 seconds left on the clock in order to get it done. Kuf getting in there with the touch on the hand, which means he will go into a final battle against Zhang of China. The final battle, of course, worth 2 points. Kuf just waving to the crowd in celebration. Onto the stage steps Zhang. This bout worth 2 points, which of course will be transferred into seconds later on in the competition. Zhang on the right of your screen, Kuf already with 1 extra point on the left. Zhang looks up for this, doesn't he? Just moving backwards and forwards. Quick feet work from the Chinaman. The attack comes in from Kuf, but Zhang defends, gets the touch, and that will be worth 2 extra points for the Chinaman as we head towards the riding. This then the standings after 2 events, and you can see Amro El Ghaziri of the United States of America is out ahead with a score of 5.56 ahead of Yang Kuf. A bit further down the order you can see Ben Stemeter, who came 5th in Hungary earlier this year, currently in 13th position. On now to the all-important riding. The riders are starting off with 300 points. If they knock over an obstacle, that costs them 7 points. Every second over the allotted time period costs them an extra point. And they have just 20 minutes to familiarise themselves with the local horses. Lots to think about. And we start our coverage with James Cook from Great Britain. Currently 5th overall, and putting together a reasonably good run here. As long as he doesn't knock over any of the last 2 fences, this should be an okay score. He just clips the final fence, a score of 2.79, but taking into account some of the other scores, not bad overall for the Brits. Up next then, it is Alvaro Sandoval from Mexico. The crowd absolutely loving his run here in Mexico City, making contact with his first obstacle there. But other than that, it's been a pretty solid run from the Mexican, a score of 2.93. These are the final 2 hurdles. A lot of athletes have been struggling with these. Not Alvaro Sandoval though, a score of 2.91, just 2 time penalties picked up. Slow and steady wins the race. Up next then, it is Linbing Zhang of China. He is currently in 3rd position, and a score of around 270 wouldn't be too bad given some of the other scores we've seen in the men's. Difficult conditions out here, but lots of obstacles being picked up along the way, and a score of 258 is going to be costly for the Chinaman. Now into our penultimate rider, Jan Kuf of Czech Republic, currently in 2nd position, and this is also a little bit of a messy one. You can see just how much mud is picking up on this course. We had a lot of rain over this weekend, and that hasn't helped with the conditions, and Jan Kuf picking up a few obstacles there and a couple of time penalties as well. And after all the obstacles were eventually subtracted from his score, a score of 268 for the Czech. So finally, it is Amro El Ghaziri who has been out in front over the course of the first 2 events. Can he keep his nerve and put together a good ride? The conditions just seeming to get harder and harder for the riders. The wet course causing problems for many of our athletes. And there you can see the first obstacle collected along the way there for the American Amro El Ghaziri. Just making his way through the course now. He's got to try and remain focused and try not to pick up too many more obstacles. A long back straight here towards the double obstacles. This an Oxa which he, clips. And that will be another 7 points taken from his score. Oh, it's just a little slip from the horse, but he manages to keep that together, collecting another obstacle though. That brings his score down to 2.79. He can't really afford to lose any more obstacles. So once all the obstacles have been subtracted from his score, a score of 272 for the American, which should mean he'll still start at the top of the pile. This then the standings after the first 3 events, and you can see Amro El Ghaziri 6 seconds ahead of Alvaro Sandoval in 2nd place, Jan Kuf in 3rd, James Cook and Joseph Chung in 7th and 8th place respectively, and Valentin Praz, the Olympic 4th place finisher, in 15th.
Welcome back to Mexico, all to play for in the men's final as we head towards a thrilling finish at the laser run with our commentator James Zanidakis.
So, a long and strenuous day here in the altitude of Mexico City, over 2,000 metres above sea level. Who is this going to favour? Some of the athletes have been away doing various training camps, trying to familiarise themselves with running at a high altitude, but you have to favour the Mexican athlete who is used to training in these conditions. That there is Marvin Dog, one of the Dog brothers. Patrick Dog also competing in this final, but it is Amro El Ghaziri who will lead the laser run, 6 seconds ahead of Alvaro Sandoval of Mexico. And really any of these runners could be in with a chance of adding a little bit of pressure in the latter stages of the race. Just 42 seconds separating first place and 16th. Right, Amro El Ghaziri gets us underway then in the men's laser run. Just 6 seconds ahead of Alvaro Sandoval after his riding score, who will hold their nerve and get off to a good start. Expect the American to do well here. He looks focused. And, well, he's made a mistake on his second shoot, but recovers to make his second and third. El Ghaziri will get away then ahead of the Mexican, and Sandoval is struggling here, hasn't even made his first shot here, makes his first, but still is finding a few problems. Yankov could well get the jump here. In fact, a few of these athletes struggling on this opening laser shoot. It looks like it's going to be Yankov that's going to get away first. It is, it's Yankov, the Czech, that gets away. Sandoval is having a horrible time there in the shooting range. Maybe he'll be able to come back in. I think that was Joseph Chung who got away for Great Britain there, but here is our leader, Amro El Ghaziri from the United States of America, starting the race on 828 points, 6 seconds ahead of his closest rival, Alvaro Sandoval, who has struggled in the opening stages of this race. In second place it is Yankov, and in third place just behind him at the moment is Timochenko. But look at that group of runners, any one of those capable of making a podium position. This is shaping up to be an absolute beaut of a race. There you can see James Cook of Great Britain, number 7 on his chest, just making his way through the field. Over now towards the second laser shoot, and El Ghaziri has been calm and composed throughout the opening stages of this race, and just allowing a couple of mistakes there for some of the other shooters to turn up and maybe put a bit of pressure on the American. Wow, goodness me, things are tensing up here. El Ghaziri gets away though, 15 seconds, but it's allowed the chasing pack to perhaps catch up and put a bit of pressure. This is turning out to be really difficult to call. What a great men's final we have in place at the moment. James Cook getting away then from the shooting range. Maybe he could put a bit of pressure on the medal positions as the race goes on. But you can see El Ghaziri out ahead on his own at the moment. So just rejoining the action, and that there looks like it is number 12, Riccardo De Luca, the Italian, ahead then of Alvaro Sandoval, who is coming back after that staggered start. Still El Ghaziri out in front at the moment, but Sandoval is really pressuring for a second place finish at the moment. Riccardo De Luca from Italy started 31 seconds behind our leader, and he's starting to make up the pace. Has El Ghaziri peaked a bit too soon here? There is a long string of runners starting to mount up. Any one of these could be in with a chance of a gold. The second lap drawing to its conclusion, and your guess is as good as mine as to who will see this race out. Riccardo De Luca has made his way up from 12th position. He's currently in second position. In third position it is the Mexican Alvaro Sandoval, and there you can see number 15 Valentin Prats making his way up the fields as well. Right, who will keep their nerve in this, the penultimate laser shoot? El Ghaziri has led the race from start to where we're at the moment, but it looks like Ahmed from Egypt is going to get away in front. He does, my goodness me. Ahmed has now taken the lead. How many different leaders are we going to see in this race? Timochenko now up to second, and in third place it is the Italian Riccardo De Luca, who's got himself into a medal position. Well, it's all going to come down to the final lap, as we will see who will manage to keep calm and composed. And it looks like Timochenko, the Olympic silver medalist, is going to take the lead of this race. Pavlo Timochenko from Ukraine, who started the race in 6th place. He was a full 22 seconds behind Amro El Ghaziri. He's made up that time, and he now leads the race. This, though, is where we can see the altitude causing a few of the runners a few problems. That's Joseph Chung of Great Britain just getting away from the shooting range. But any one of these top 5 could start to maybe cause some problems for the front two. That's James Cook and Valentin Prades from France, just coming up with a battle for 4th place at the moment, and of course 3rd place. But this is the battle for 1st at the moment. It is Timoshenko from Ukraine up against the Egyptian Ahmed Hamed from Egypt. On then to the final lap, and any one of these front 5 could be in with a chance of a gold medal. Timoshenko arrives at the shooting range. Hamed is there too. Up steps James Cook. We can see Valentin Prades and DeLuca in the shot as well. Who is going to keep their eye on the target and get a good shoot here? It could be the difference between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th. Timoshenko gets away. He leads the race, closely followed by James Cook of Great Britain. Could these two be about to battle it out for gold? Timoshenko in the gold and blue top, James Cook in the white, with a quick glance over his shoulder to see if anyone else is going to put those two under a bit of pressure. That is Sandoval, who started in 2nd place. He's fallen back, but these 4 are battling for the medal positions, and look at that pace from Valentin Prades of France. He's closing in now on James Cook, who's in 2nd place, but it is Timoshenko out in 1st place at the moment. Goodness me, this is the final we've all been hoping for. Swimming followed by fencing, followed by riding. This is the combined laser, and we're on the last lap. It all comes down to this. You just never know with modern pentathlon, and it's being shown here at the highest of stages as Valentin Prades of France overtakes James Cook to take 2nd place. Has he got the legs to chase down the Olympic silver medalist Pavlo Timoshenko, who's currently in 1st position? James Cook, though, is right on the tail of Prades. This is the final few moments of this race, and any one of these 3 capable of finishing in 1st, 2nd or 3rd. The final few turns coming up, and Prades is starting to make a charge past Timoshenko, pushing his way past. James Cook looks to be tailing off. It looks like it's going to be Valentin Prades of France, who started in 15th place, who has made up that time, 35 seconds, and now leads the race as we enter the final few stages. The battle for silver still very much open, though. You can see James Cook. Has he got the speed to get past Timoshenko? Prades coming around the final corner. I think he's done enough. He thinks so too. Raises a wrist in the air, but James Cook has got past Timoshenko. Can he make a final dash to the line? It is between Prades and James Cook. James Cook goes around the outside. Surely not. Unbelievable. James Cook pips Prades right on the line. Raises his arms in the air. That was phenomenal. Pavlo Timoshenko will have to settle for 3rd. Kufan Ahmed running over the line. I think Kufan in just ahead of him. This is how close it was. Never celebrate early, not when you've got James Cook on your tail. What a finish to the World Championships here in Mexico City. A photo finish, just 0.03 of a second. The difference between those two. Prades thought he'd won it. James Cook came out of nowhere, and look how much that means to the Brits. Raw emotion. They all look exhausted. James Cook throwing his fist in the air, and it's going to be a big hug with his team. Incredible stuff here in Mexico City.
It's obviously a dream come true. I was really struggling on this last lap, but then unfortunately my granddad died last week, so that was him. I've worked so hard for this over the last year. I've had a fantastic season in training wise, so I just tried to go as hard as I can.
I started 14 after bad riding. And I'm so sad after riding, but I said, okay, you are one crazy boy, like Olympics, and we will see. And my tactic is start slowly, because with the altitude, a lot of people are dead after 2 laps. And we have a big training camp in Fourmeux, in altitude. And I said, okay, you are ready, you can do it. and I stay focused on my race, on my shoot. And in the last lap, it's amazing. Not very good finish because Jamie passed me the last meter, but I'm so happy because it's a very hard work every day, and today it's a cherry on the cake.
So James Cook winning gold in the most dramatic of fashions. Valentin Praz having to settle for second. Pavlo Timochenko in third. Yankov dashing to the line to take home fourth place. Ricardo De Luca was leading this race at one point, having to settle for 10th place. Amro El Ghaziri looks like he could be winning gold, but in the end finishing all the way down in 27th. Miles Pillage of Great Britain, who won the swimming, in 34th.
Well, thanks for joining us here in Mexico City. We'll end on some amazing images from what's been a spectacular event. If you want to see extended coverage, join us online at uipmtv.org.